Hi, Woody here. I thought it'd be cool to share a little bit of my process as I continue to set up my Vtube thing. I wanted to add a little bit more functionality to what I'm doing. So I thought it'd be cool to build a system that could control all the cameras in my scene. And that way I could like switch around them, go back and forth, as well as like do a little bit of camera moving. I have a Valve Index and I use the motion controllers to do the hands of my avatar, but I also wanted to be able to use all the buttons to control the scene. I'm still getting used to streaming. This is the first in a series of 5 videos that I did, and this first one actually I did offline. So bear with me here, but I think this is a cool look into my process as well as how to program a bunch of functionality for your VTube scenes. And if you have any questions, you can absolutely get in touch, leave a comment, or find me on Discord. Also keep a lookout because I'd like to refine this tool further and then maybe make it available for other creators to use. So if that's something that interests you, you should stick around. All right, so I'm traveling, so my audio probably sounds a little different today. Basically, what I would like to do next is I would like to build the ultimate, just like the perfect camera controller, basically. I think that would be exactly what I need next to keep building this environment. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna grab this camera and I'm gonna look at this thing because I think this is just a cinema camera, right? So that's what we have in our scene right now. Let's actually look at the what we've got. Where's our world tab? We need the world tab. I'm on my laptop, which is it's a good place to be sometimes because you forget whether or not certain things will work. And I want things to work on mobile as well as they're supposed to be. You can see I'm still compiling some shaders. So let's get this going on. Camera controller. Okay, this is something I've made. That's great. So if we look in here, something you're going to notice is that, and we set this up before a while back, but we have this thing going on where we have, if stream mode is on, it's going to first off change the viewport camera to a cine camera. And that's cool. That's great. That's a really simple, basic level way of doing things. But then it's also going to disable all screen messages. So basically, I'm going to, you know what? Let's do, whoa. Apparently the Control B button works everywhere now. Whoa. Not used to having it set up like this. I usually just like this docked. I'm going to create an enumerate. Eventually I will have to organize this page. I don't know how it's going to be, how I could possibly get away with that. So camera system is what we're going to call that. And then I'm going to add some new operators or enumerators. And I'm going to call this one simple for the simple camera system. Call one complex. And I'm going to call one none. And I think none is really not going to do anything. I know that sounds like exactly what none would do, but I think complex is actually going to default to not writing very much code, at least in the controller. So simple is actually going to be what we have now. So we have simple. So I'm going to go to variables, make a new one for this enumerator, and I'm going to go to the camera system. Yeah. I just kind of like enumerators. This probably could have just been done with a Boolean. All right. Camera start up. Boom. So I'm going to get this select on it. Actually, you know what? I want to switch case. That's what I really want here. So if we're streaming, simple will mean that we're going to get actor of class for a cinema camera. We're going to just use a cinema camera, and then we're going to set that with the view target. And why am I not making this big? I'm doing everyone a disservice, including me, because with a laptop screen. But great, cool. And then complex and none will both do nothing. Wow. Okay. Feels weird, but this might be better code to put on the game mode. Might be better to do it on our game mode override. So I have this invisible pawn here. I'm going to pull it up. This is something I made before. It's a blueprint class. Basically what I wanted was a pawn. I can't remember if I did this on stream or not. I did some stuff with it because this is how I set it up with the index controller. But the other thing that I mean, the main thing so far with this thing is that it just has an actor hidden in game. I think I changed the name of that. Yeah. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't. So that's a big thing. So I'm going to turn that on. And otherwise, there's no reason to call it invisible. But the other thing we can do with this is awesome. I've done this in my 4.26 builds, is we can add a cinema camera component. And I believe, if I'm not incorrect, Unreal will just take this as the default view target when we possess this pawn. So this is sort of the next level thing. Normally, you can use that set view target node to switch things around. I've built camera switchers using it so that like whenever I press the button, it would switch to the corresponding camera. We're going to build a system like that, but we are going to make sure that we're actually possessing things so that we can constantly move our cameras and keep them in the same places, and that we have sort of a controls around every single camera that we're going to be moving to, which is going to be awesome. I'm a little too excited. I also don't know why my voice is weird. I'm probably just dehydrated. Okay. I guess just call it Cinecam. Nothing crazy there. But let's see. Where did it get added to? Here we go. This one is hidden in game by default on purpose. So variable, transform, and I'm just going to parent it to the pawn itself, or to the collision component maybe, because this is the right scale, and it shouldn't affect the scale. It shouldn't be affected by scale at all, but just sometimes it just gets weird. We'll see if this. We'll see what this does. All right. We should be able to know pretty quickly, basically. So let's set our default camera startup to be complex. Compile complex. That looks like we got some depth of field here. Stuff. I don't have any mouse movement on and I'm strafing up and down. So this is probably bad. This is probably set up from what I was doing with my index controllers. This is probably what's going on here. So I just need to go into my settings and fix that first. Should be overwhelmingly simple. Axis mappings, mouse Y. I just need to add. I need to add mouse Y. Nope, mouse Y. There we go. Somehow move up. This got weird. This got all turned around. The move up and move upwards is just bad coding, or just bad nomenclature on my part. So I'm noticing that move up is happening on S and W, which is weird, because the move up should not be happening this way. That's a little strange. This should really be called move forward. I'm just crap at this kind of thing. And the index controllers want this weird little suffix to be able to distinguish on their 2-axis plane. So it's a very strange little workflow thing, and I don't like it very much. All right, so far not much from the mouse. It's going to be a problem. However, because everything does work on the index, it should just be a matter of making sure everything is good to go here. Engine input. You can tell I'm having trouble finding things. I'm not used to this. So trigger for calibration. Lock left, lock right. Right. We did this. Look up at rate. So this works. I've done this. So turn the right thumbstick X. I'm going to add mouse X. See if this one will work. And if not, we might have bigger problems here. But, however, so we're not getting any mouse input. It's just really irritating. Oh yeah, we're also like translating. You know what? I think we just have we have too much stuff hooked up here for our keys. That's what's going on. We're struggling because we have them hooked up to do so much. Keep skipping through here. Like, why? Why? So we're going to look up. We're going to lose that because that's not the same anymore. S and W. And see if we used S and W again anywhere else. That's important. A and D, for the move up. We have everything. Okay, yeah, we're going to lose that. Let's see if this helps. Yeah, notice that we're going diagonally. This left to right is working correctly, but I want to know what's up with this. Every time I press S. Let's look inside our pawn then. Shall we? Event graph. Let's check our movement component too, because, and this might be, some of this is probably just a default movement binding not being on. We might come back for one of these too. Still no input from the mouse. Maybe if I lose these guys, recompile, throw me errors, but yeah, all this diagonal movement, do not understand. So let's start over. So this is a little bit of a cheat. I may regret doing this, but let's create a visible pawn too and work from there. So we're gonna go we're gonna make a new here. We're gonna make a new subclass of the default pawn. Where is he? He's in here somewhere. Not the def pawn, the default pawn. I'm gonna select that and I'm gonna name it camera pawn. What? No, camera pawn. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna add our cine camera. This was nice about not ever editing your default classes, because then they're good to go when you need to make subclasses. So subclasses all good to go. And this looks the right size this time. So I'm gonna hidden in game. Don't even know why we need this thing, to be perfectly honest. Wish I could hide it here, but I don't really need to. Okay. So let's go back, and then we're gonna, instead of invisible pawn, we're gonna call it camera pawn. And then we're still having trouble. Is that the right? I think I just had my system messed up with bad, crappy control calls. Really thought that would change it. I don't like spending this much time solving this problem, but clearly we've got something really, really goofy now. So okay, I think I've maybe found the culprit. No, that's not it. Just gonna double check this one, see if defaults are on. Yes, default movement binding. Using this thing would be cool. We could also, maybe if we ever want to get super crazy, we could start giving our cameras like AI commands. Like we could start telling them to do things, or to start like moving specific places in the future. That would be wild. So I'm going back to input here because I'm going to look up what I've been doing wrong. Move right, A and D, like A is the inverse. I'm not getting anything off of my mouse at all. So that's definitely not right. Could it be an ordering thing? Like, I feel like if it was an ordering thing, I would have the ability to reorder things. What was I even thinking here? Move right Y? What was I going to do with that? So this is interesting to me because the Q and E thing still works. It could be the camera is also... Yeah, you know what? Let's make sure the camera is set up correctly. This could be a problem. So this is the front of this thing here. So everything should be in a good spot. But it seems like Oh, it is getting at mouse input. It's just not rotating. Aha! All right, cool. We just learned something. This is something we can deal with this. We can deal with this. I'm going back to my original invisible pawn. And give it to me. Let's see here. I think we want to use controller rotation yaw. I think that might fix it. Yes. And pitch. We don't want roll, that would get too crazy. But yeah, all right, cool. This is it. Great. All right. Nice, 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 nice. That fixed everything. So if you're having problems like this, use that. That's what's going on here. That's sort of the problem. So I don't know how that got turned off for me. I think because I had defaults on before when I turned them off. Yeah, just got weird. So the good news is we can move on again. Between our camera controller and our pawn system, to be honest, we don't have to do a whole lot with this. It would be cool if we could program it to do some cool things, but maybe that'll come later. We're gonna have all sorts of like secondary ways to like move the camera around, which is gonna be super cool. But in the meantime, I want some basic switching and I want some basic controls. One thing I'm gonna do, because I have this movement component here, is I'm gonna have my I think turning boost might be what I want the most, but like I just want things to be nice and slow. I'm gonna like dial this way down. See if, yeah, see, we don't want to go too fast, too far too fast. And I'm gonna take this acceleration down to like 500, because yeah, I could take it down even more. 200. Yeah, you see that? So when we mess with the acceleration, we get a little bit of a, yeah, oh man, we make it ultra slow. So the thing is that these are all values that we can control. I believe we should be able to access these, so that's going to make everything a lot better. Now this movement component, I'm pretty sure, is just a C++ code. Let's drop this down, see what happens too. Let's see. Let's go crazy. Yeah, and that feels a lot more cinematic to me. These are just the defaults. We should be able to add something to this. I'm going to say we add like just a multiplier across the whole spectrum. We can increase the max speed because we're not going to get there right away. Drop this thing down. The turning boost. I don't want to actually, I guess that's just the speed of my mouse. Yeah, okay, that's so cool because like we might want to animate something later that would functionally do this, but this is like, especially with the deceleration, like if we just keep it slow and we just kind of tab in and stuff like that, there's a little bit of like a stabilization to it, which is awesome. I like this, but we're definitely going to change it. Yeah. Feels like a Steadicam shot a little bit. To all my traditional filmmakers out there, Steadicams over Movies any day. Although, do people even still use Movi now that like DJI made those Ronins? Like, I haven't really checked in on the scene in a while, but it seems like Movi maybe had their lunch eaten. I was only ever on one shoot with a Movi. I don't know why I'm talking about this. Should actually stream these. that would keep me on track more. All right, cool. So we're going to turn off camera pawn because this is our OG one, and we know it works with the index, which is a big deal to me. So cool. Yeah, I wish I had a way to like scale the like camera rotation thing. Like I wish there was a way for me to like kind of let it happen over time. Like to gradually pan. That would be really nice. It probably needs me to like just build that functionality, but all right. This is all great. And so you know, this is firing blank, which means we're just keeping our system here. So what we want to do next is we want to build a switch. So I'm gonna drop these down a little bit, and then I'm gonna create a new custom event. That's really annoying. What? Am I not calling this the right thing? What's wrong with me? Just type in create. Huh? What? Oh, that's a whole new event graph. I don't want that. Why? Why? Just why? Find all camera fonts. So what this is going to do, it's going to find camera fonts. And we're just going to go through an index of different camera pawns that we have out in the world. So we'll do our own sequence here. I'm getting to the point where I just make sequences before I even know I need them. So let's get all actors of class. And then we're going to get invisible pawns. And then we're going to for each loop. And then we're going to add them all to a new array. And then I'm going quickly here. Promote this to a variable. Cameras. And this is all the invisible pawns that are available to us. Now we're going to do something here. I like the name camera pawn better. I don't know why I'm keeping this one. I should change it to something cooler. All right, so we're going to have to make some variables. One is going to be camera ID. Integer type. Looks wrong. It looks like I put an L here. It looks like camera rolled, but it's camera ID. Oops. Don't kick the mic stand. Now, let's do a loop out of here and then branch the get camera ID. Once we get our camera ID, if it equals 0, then we're going to do something simple, and if it doesn't, then we're going to do something complicated. So array at index. I think index is the term. index, remove index. We're just going to go through the array list. I think maybe append array. No, that's not it. Remove item, add, insert. I think it's insert. Cool. And what this is going to let us do is we're going to be able to get, let's do this again. Take our target camera, take our target, and the camera ID that we use will be this. And that's if it's not 0. If it's 0, it's not going to work. We're going to have camera 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. So that's great. I'm going to recombine these back into a reroute. We can just keep going. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Because this is still if it's 0, right? So if this is still if it's 0, then what we're going to do is we're going to take its actual index. You know what? Let's add a dummy. Let's add a. So here's the trick, right? So we're human beings and we count up. If I have 1 can of LaCroix in front of me, then which I should really drink. What's wrong with me? That's a little better. So if I have 1 camera, my camera count is 1. I have 0 cameras if there are no cameras. So arrays start with the first on 0, which is fine for programming, but it's confusing for us. So I'm just gonna like create a dummy camera with this system, and then I'm gonna delete it. So before we do this, I'm gonna take our cameras, put it here, and add. So this will be our first, because this starts blank, right? We start with a blank camera array. So we compile and stuff. We could add a first. Oh, that would probably be easier, but we can't really pick anything, so that doesn't really work. That doesn't really work at all. Maybe leaving that blank would work for us, but that doesn't make me feel as clever. So what I'm gonna do is create class actor from class. I'm gonna do invisible pawn and do that. I'm gonna add him, and that'll be at array 0. In fact, let's be absolutely sure that that's at 0. So we use the insert instead. Where are you? Oh. I'm gonna see what that's about. Yeah. Okay, cool. So we're just going to create this. We don't even need a transform, I don't think. We can just, oh, we should see what this error is all about. So, oh, right. Makes sense to me. Kill all the obvious errors, then there's less of a word spaghetti down there. Okay, I guess we do need a spawn transform. Ha, I just ate my own words. I'm gonna just make. Just type in make. Doesn't even matter to me where it's gonna end up. Just like, boom. You'll see in the next stage here, we're gonna delete this just as quickly. So we have transforms here, and then we're gonna destroy actor. And then it's going to be this one here. So I think this will save. We'll check our index here because we can check this at runtime, but we should be able to check. Maybe we. Oh, you know what? Let's do it. One even better, because it won't be deleting the index. It'll just be deleting the actor. Let's do that one. Let's do that after. So. Make more space here. We're going to go to destroy actor. And then we're just going to, I'm just going to reroute my way around here. I don't know why I'm typing this in. Always keep your stuff pretty. I specifically was looking for information about control rig recently, and I stopped watching somebody's video just because their blueprints were so nasty and I had so many wires crossed. I was like, I'm not gonna learn what you're doing here. So then I stopped. So that's my thing. You can kind of, this is pushing it for me. I don't like this. Maybe, you know what would be even better is if we did another reroute. And then another one back here. Yeah. Even that is cleaner and better. So we're going to destroy the actor, so we're not going to have an extraneous pawn floating around, but then we are going to also not have to deal with like this weird one we created in the center of the world. So I'm going to add stuff to this chain. I'm going to add stuff to this chain, but we need to figure out what first. So, yes, I remember. So obviously we're going to have a small problem, right, where pawns that get created are going to have a specific camera ID, and we can set this camera ID, right? So like we want to be able to say this one is 1, this one is 2, this one's 3, this one's 4. So with our invisible pawn system here, I'm going to build a construction script which will basically make sure that the only one that has the integer that we set when the camera ID gets made. So on construct, I'm going to get all actors of class, same as we're doing above, invisible pawn, and then we're going to for each. And then I'm going to check them all to see get camera ID. Then we're going to do another one if branch the okay, yeah, so why don't I have a branch here? Oh, right, because of, yeah, cool. So basically what this says is every time that we make a change to our camera ID, if there's another camera ID out there, then, and we have, we have the camera ID we want, we're going to set that one back to 0, which isn't ideal for me. I would like to write something cool where they all kind of get marched up by 1 or something like that, but that could even be more confusing, and then, who knows. So in this situation, I'm going to say equals, and then I'm just going to pull our camera ID. I can see why that's confusing. That's going to confuse me later, probably. If it's equal, then I'm going to set camera ID to 0. And that's going to make sure that we don't have anything incorrect in the scene beforehand. So let's make sure this is working first. This is going to be simple, I think. But let's find our invisible pawn. Let's just add a bunch to the scene. Ignore the fact that they are not lit and everything in here is dark. Ignore that. Actually, I could fix that pretty easy. So we will. So I'm gonna look at these guys. I'm gonna find where specifically materials, pawn, floating pawn movement. Looking for a camera ID. Because that's going to be its own thing. We'll search for it. So here's a question. Why are we not seeing our camera ID? And I have a quick answer for you, which is very, very simplistic. That's not exposed to be publicly editable, and we want that. So look, now we got it. Look, there it is. Cool. So we're going to make this one 2, this one 3. Ooh, interesting. So our script is not working. So let's find out what's up with that. It's definitely our construction script. We probably have some bad logic here. So we're going to find all the other actors, visible pawns, and then we're targeting to see if it's true that they share our camera ID. This includes our own camera, right? So one of the cameras that it's going to find is ours. So let's see if we can remove item. And what we're going to do is we're going to use a reference to self. Get a reference to self, and we're going to remove it because we're also in this. But we can't make this pass through. So we're going to have to promote this to a variable. And that's fine. Wait, no, I still want that. We're going to remove. Pay no attention to the sounds of excited dog tail wagging in the background. Yeah. So then we'll do that. We'll use our out actors here. I'm not even going to rename it. I'm going to remove self from it. Oh yeah, that's why we still have these weirdos. Don't think I need these anymore. Let's see if that helps. Okay. So we probably should have made that a local variable too. Yeah, because I don't know if that'll keep running afterwards. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna use that actually. Because I think that's just a little easier. Because that should just run when this runs. Then we don't have to mess with this. So, wait, did we get out of here? Nice. Now, let's try setting a camera ID. Cool. Here's another one. Haha, see? Oh, we did it. We did it this time. So, oops. 5. 3. Just make sure that they're holding their values. Yes. But then if I make this one 3, this one becomes 0. And that's more important than you think. We could get really annoyed later on. Like we'll be like, do I have 2 camera 5s? Which one's camera 5? Because they're going to have these naming scheme names here. This one's going to be 1, 3, 5. We could probably set the names. But currently, number 1 is camera 4. We could rename them accordingly, I believe. That would be a really good idea, actually. Let's just do it for safety. Yep. Sequences. Always sequences. And this is extra good because let's just get another self here and then drag off of it and see if that will help us at all. Name. Set. Should be a set name. I don't actually know if such a node exists. Set collision profile. I'm seeing some camera stuff. Asset rename data, that's something else, I think. Set material by name. All right, I'm going to leave that alone for now. Would be excellent if we could rename things here. An invisible pawn, whatever, could become specific to that. I'll keep an eye out, but I'm not going to get stuck here. So if this means that if things are 0, then they're going to get added, and then they're going to get assigned. All right. This should probably be done in 2 passes. Yeah, you can see what's going on wrong here, right? So like we're taking a full list at random, and then we're assigning different naming or different we're assigning different indexes. So we want the camera ID and the index to be the same. It's just going to be easier that way. Then we can use this data interchangeably. Like a camera ID can just be the same as the index, and that's less code for us because then we're not going to look up a camera index or a camera ID like every time that we're going to like. Just trust me here. I've built these a lot, so we're gonna do this twice. We're gonna do the whole thing twice, and this is fine because this is the beginning of the scene. You know, if this is on a tick or something like that, that'd be whoa. But basically, we're just gonna get. We are just going to find out if anything is 0, and if it is, great. That's what we'll do second. So these should be switched, and I'm gonna delete that, and I am gonna just steal this. So we can have arrays are tricky and arrays work kind of funny. I'm trying to think here. So if we insert them, that'll create blank spaces in between in the array because the array length isn't like, maybe I didn't think this through as well as I thought. So array system. I'd like to be able to go through and just give each one their designated array. You know what? No, I think I was right the first time. Let's set all the like. What we'll do is we'll set all the zeros to be numbers, and then we're going to insert all of these bad boys at the same time, and that should push everything down. We should do this in order. That's going to be specifically important. You know what? I'm not testing enough. I am not testing enough. Let's slow things down and let's run a test here. Let's compile this and let's play this. And then, all right, so we got a scene here. Oh yeah, slow camera, baby. Slow dolly. Slow dolly. Getting closer, see if the, nope. Not that kind of focus distance problem. What did we just run into? Yeah. Can you imagine, like, I'm VTubing and I'm like talking and stuff. Maybe I'm even using my fingers, but I got my thumbs on the thumbsticks and I'm just like setting my own dolly in the background. Actually sounds a little stressful. I don't know what the benefit would be there, but it's cool. All right. So we're gonna, oh yeah, we were gonna test. That's what we're gonna do. Right. So play the selected viewport. Then, I'm interested in things that are highlighted here. These must be spawned items. So yeah, you can't forget that you're gonna spawn upon as well. So maybe that one is 0. Maybe that's just, maybe we get rid of that stuff and we just let that guy be 0. Interesting. So I'm going to shift F1, get out of here, look at camera controller. And then let's find actually we were going to name this cameras. Oh, you know what? We didn't expose it. We didn't expose that, so we're not going to find it. Same problem we had before. We did not expose that. Let's expose it, and then we'll try again. Camera controller. Camera. 0 array elements. So that's already interesting, right? Because we should have a bunch. Because we still have our other invisible pawns. So if we don't have any, then what's happening? All right. Back to the drawing board. Yeah, cool. Because we should at least have the one that we just spawned, right? Like we just made one out of thin air. Oh, you know what? We didn't call the event. Camera. See, this is why I didn't want to go too long without testing, because then you're gonna have a million things you don't know what's wrong with it, and then yeah, it's find all camera pawns. All camera pawns. Boom. That should help. All right. Cool. Camera controller. Nice. And this is kind of what I expected to see. This is what I wanted. So visible pawn to, so it does it. You know, I mean, like you don't have to worry about the fact that it makes one. So it's gonna make one. It might randomly assign it. If you do want your default one to be default player controlled pawn to be 1, I think that's good. That's a good idea that that's just defaults to 1. For me anyways, that's what I prefer. And I don't think I'm going to want to customize that later. That's fine if that's not super special. Index 3 is none. Wait a second. Do that again? What happened here? Because are stuff getting double added? Where are my invisible pawns at? That's a great question, right? Okay, because we have 2 regular invisible pawns. Oh. This one's camera ID was 4. I love this challenge. Like I have written these before. Every time I'm thinking of like a new way to make this better. So I'm gonna try and make this one no different. I'll make this one better. Find all cameras. It's creating one. I'm gonna have it print the name. I want to see what it's calling this one. Because then, oh yeah, we're not showing prints. Because we might be streaming. I'm gonna quick and dirty this, and I'm just gonna I'm just gonna switch it to enable. You know what? I just want that one ready to go. Sweet. You know what? Let's pull that over here. Stream mode is true, then disable. It's false, then enable. And that's going to be a different thing than how our camera controllers are working. Stream mode is going to be off right now. I realize this is like kind of obtuse to put these here because like this isn't where you can like easily change things from the editor. Is stream mode, I mean, I can, but like especially for this like begin play thing, this is a spawned actor, so it's just gonna pop in. But let's, all right. Wait, what was the? Got to deal with my ADD now. If it's false, should enable all. So then, does one spool? We have complex for starters. Oh gosh, I don't even remember what I was doing with this. What is some of this stuff? Uh-oh. I'm losing my mind. I think that was a locking mechanism. Yeah, this seems like that shouldn't be that. Yeah, that was the locking mechanism, though. I guess it makes sense that it would be here. All right. So this is off. This is false, which means it should enable all screen messages instead of disabling them. Yes, nice. I just wasn't seeing them, I think. All right, cool. Which means invisible pawn. Ooh. No, camera controller. So that means when we click here, we have invisible pawn 2. that's the name of the pawn that it created. So if we get out of here, we jump into camera controller. Created visible pawn, invisible pawn 2, and that one is what should be destroyed. So that works for me. It's getting added twice because it hasn't been deleted before the search. So let's delete it before the search. Cool. That works for me. All right. And then we get rid of this nasty reroute thing going on here. Yeah, I'll just delete it. Destroy actor. Keep it clean. Keep it clean. Nice. So that way, when we do this, visible pawn 2 gets made, but when we look at it, yes, okay, one less index. And even though it doesn't exist anymore, it's still called that, which is cool. We want to be able to test every time to see if a pawn is valid before we switch to it. Yes, all right, cool. So cool. I'm very cool. Oops. Very cool with this. So this is, this is making sure we have nothing at 0, because we don't really want 0. We want to press 1 through something. You know what? Let's talk about our, remember that system I used of getting the out actors and then changing them? But before we add them to the new array, we understand that this is an array. So let's promote the set out actors, and then let's remove garage doors opening. I was like, what's that noise? It's not an array. Remove item. So we're going to remove I recognize that I've just gotten really confusing here. Stick with me. So for all the out actors, what we're getting here, we're going to check to see you know what? Let's rename out actors to camera ID 0 cameras. I hate that. It's fine. So we're going to add those to camera ID 0 cameras. And now we're going to remove everything that has a good camera ID. So instead of doing this up here, we're just going to do everything cleanly in their own separate arrays. And then we're using arrays to make a new array. So this is the order. It's going to create a new one that gets set to 0 so that no one has to deal with it being 0. Then, before that, we're going to find our player controlled spawned camera. You know what? The more I think about it, the more I feel like that should just be 0. Like, this is so overkill to try and fill that. So let's just get player control get character. Get pawn. be like a get controlled pawn thing. Get player controller. Get player pawn. I don't know why that's so hard. Get pawn. All right. So I probably should promote that to a variable, but basically I'm gonna start by our add array right here, and I'm gonna grab our cameras. And then I'm gonna grab this guy. Oh, I gotta cast first. This is important, gotta cast. Yep, that'll fix that. Then after that, all right, so he's 0 now. That's the first one that's gonna come in. That's 0. And that's cool with me, because if we want like a regular 1, 2, 3 camera, let's have our rando camera that gets spawned somewhere. Let's have that be 0. Like that's a random one. It's a roaming one. That's whatever. So and hopefully this is the kind of thing where we could just, I think this is happening at the beginning, but we should be able to just fire this. So like we could have it like something set up with like an event dispatcher or with an interface or something like that, and that I'm stalling because I'm trying to think of actually which one of those two things I'd actually use, which would make the most sense here. But because we need to call an event from outside, so probably an interface, like one that lots of things could access, and then like basically every time that like the cams have been changed, the camera IDs will all reflect accurately based on how we're changing them in the construction script, and then the construction script will make an attempt to target the camera controller and then once again set everything accurately. And we will just have a perfect one-to-one database of cameras sorted by their camera ID. And if that's too techy for you, then sorry. All right, so we're gonna not worry about all this stuff yet. This is just orphan code out here. I don't actually know if that's a term. Like, it makes sense to me that there'd be orphan code, but what's my OBS doing? Everything still recording perfectly normally? Fine, great. Cool. So we'll loop body. Oops. Nope. So we're getting camera ID. Let's not even set this yet. Let's actually do another sequence. So we're gonna have 2 pre-sorted arrays. And then we're gonna add these to 2 new arrays. And I'm gonna change this one. Let's have it say pre-camera cameras. And then I'm just gonna just call this ID 0. So if this equal to 0. Pass it on. If it is, we're gonna get it. This is confusing because arrays work a little differently, right? Like we should be able to, we want it, my gut says set it, but we're not gonna set it, we're gonna add to it. We are gonna change it just differently. And then this is, so if it's 0, then send it on, baby. That's right. Cool. So that's our first for each loop. We're gonna do another one here. Although I suppose, no, we don't need another, that's silly stuff. False means we're gonna add it to, I'm just gonna copy this, camera list ID n, because variable n. And then I'm gonna go add again. So this separates the ones that have numbers from the ones that don't. And trust me, it will matter eventually. So if you're equal to 0, you get added to this array, and if you're not, you get added to this array. That's cool. So then next we're gonna for each loop down here. This is just getting too cramped for my tastes. And instead of worrying about all this, next we're going to just add everything here into the camera array, so that's going to be really simple. This is kind of about ordering. It's about what happens first. So I'm going to go add array. Ooh, except we don't want that one. We want cameras are visible. It's the only one that should be visible. These two should be invisible. So then, great. So these just get added to cameras. It's that simple. But these guys that have numbers, they're going to get added at specific arrays. Where's my ID list n? Yep, cool. These are going to get inserted. Now, come back for you, my sweet, sweet code. And we're going to avoid these things because they don't really matter. Same thing here. Cameras. I'm going to add the array element. This means that these are going to get inserted on the correct array, and that sets us up nicely for our next sequence when we are going to, now we're just going to take our cameras, we're going to for each. For each is a nice way of forcing an action across the entire array per individual. And we are going to, instead of get, we're going to set camera ID. And then we're going to use the array index this time. So if you already were set correctly to your index for the pre-camera n list, you'll be added here. And if not, you'll have this set up. Oh, another important thing. We're going to make sure that we subtract our player controller. Because when we get all these actors, it's still going to factor that one, even though we already added it into the array. It feels like we're done, right? But we got to make it. We got to make sure it's not considered. Okay. So we can do that effectively, I think, with just another branch. And I think we just need to make sure that player that array element is not equal to the player. And we can just do false, or though I feel like it's more appropriate in this case to use the not equals. Do this properly. This doesn't equal the player. Great, continue. Check to see. Ooh. Don't want that unhooked. All right. Ooh. Cool. And well, let's see what's going on with the camera controller. So currently it shows us with our invisible pawn, which I assume is our system here. But I'm noticing that we are missing some guys. Camera ID 3, camera ID 0. Yep. Okay, so now we got errors we got to work out. We should not have two array elements here. So let's go back and take this line by line. So we're going to add, this should be the first add player controller. Now note this is an object, not a class reference here, so that we're not having that error. But you know what? Interesting. Could set up prints. Visible pawn. Don't need this. Just feels like we have more invisible pawns. So here's a possible problem is that for whatever reason we didn't accurately screen out the player controller, or something else has gone wrong, and then or we've added things to the wrong list. And we're inserting the end list. We're adding this list. So let's print. Good old-fashioned print. Okay, his name is invisible pawn. His name is. Let's delete this guy. We'll just notice that worked perfectly, that get a bunch of zeros. No, 4, because he's 3. It's going to be 8. They will be zeros. Okay, so we got 2 of them this time. What's going wrong? Because we have more than that significantly. Invisible pawn, the one it creates, is at 0. This we like. Let's see what this one is. This one's camera ID 1, camera ID 4. Bah. So somewhere in here we've got an error. We don't have an error, we just have bad code. Maybe not everything is passing this check to make sure it's not the player pawn. So we should just check to see if it's a member of the... This would be an interesting check. See if we have... Well, if we have everything is... Let's add another custom event. Reset all camera pawns. Boom. Here's an interesting one for you. So let's see if the array element is already a part of contains. Camera contains. Still missing some 5 and 6 here. I want to know what's up with that. Just going to unplug things and start plugging them back in. You know what? We could also do this. That's a good place to start. Yeah, okay, cool. So we've actually made our lists here. Look, we see invisible pawn 2. He's got a number. So wait a second, hold on. Was he on the 0 list or the N list? Ooh, interesting. He's on the N list, but then he's on the... Oh, I see. We're not adding the list N here. We're gonna find something really obvious, aren't we? And you'll have seen it a long time ago. Pre-camera list. Oh, yep. That's exactly what it is. Just no execution here. This should still be fine, I guess. All right. Yep, another great job by me. So we still have a problem here, though. You still see that we're missing some guys. 5, 3. That's no good. Maybe we have a dependency loop or something. Yeah. No, because everything's getting filed properly. Maybe this insert is failing somehow. Let's check again. Index 1, 2, 3. We have 5 of these guys, and we're missing 3 and 5. So pawn 3. ID is 4. This ID is 8. Yeah, that's probably what it is. We need to make the length correct with arrays. I really love arrays. I also really hate them. So let's also set this up so that in addition to all this stuff, we could be using our get all, getting the camera IDs. It's trying to insert stuff that can't exist because the array isn't that long yet. So we need to make the array longer. Because if there needs to be a camera 8, I want there to just be a camera 8. I don't care if there's a bunch of blanks that get added. I just want there to be a camera 8. So and you know what? I could make a blank. I just need to get the camera ID to find the largest camera ID. So we're gonna add these two. Add these into an array of its own. This just got too complicated. I'm gonna promote this to camera custom IDs. And then boom. Now we're gonna add a next stage here. Let's there's a maximum. Yeah. Yes. So we want that max value. Oh gosh. So we're going to check this max value. I want to set we want to get. And then we'll see if this greater or equal. I find these things really confusing because I don't like the caret seems to be pointing the wrong way all the time, and I know that it's not somehow, but like they're both on the same side. I always thought that the caret was eating the bigger one. So I find this so confusing. And then I'm gonna get the technically nothing. Oh, you know what? No. Length array. I know what we'll do. Do a for loop. And we're just going to add and we'll do this in between. Yes. Sorry, I'm figuring things out on the fly. Dang it. Pressed C instead of X. Thinking. Okay, great. So we're adding all the 0 cams. Then we're going to get the length. After we've added all the 0 cameras. Man, I really thought this one was going to be simple. For loop. We're going to start with an if. Make sure our max int make sure that that isn't bigger than I just spaced out, sorry. We're trying to say greater than. If it is greater than, the max array is greater than the length of the camera array. Then we're going to do this. We're going to add blanks to the and in this case, it's going to be a blank camera. Remember when we tried to make a custom camera that didn't need to exist? Visible pawn, object reference. See, we can't set this. It's just a blank. So we can just keep adding that blank. Visible pawn. And then we've artificially extended the length in order to add our inserts. So this is really, really, really clunky, and it looks disorganized, and I hate it. So let's take a look. So let's see if this got all of it. Whoa, interesting results. Interesting results. Actually, more or less. This actually more or less really worked. So there's one problem I can see so far. So we have this is our created pawn. Oh man, I love it. Those look right. And then we have pawn 4, pawn 6. I'm going to do another thing to the... Oh. Uh-oh. We'll get to that. Add something else to the construction script. I'm going to add custom camera ID, and this is just a simple way of... Haha, see, I knew we'd use that. We're gonna set this based on the camera ID. And this is just gonna give me data to show me how many of these were custom initially and how many of these weren't not. So, get some of these guys were super custom, some of them not so much. Okay. What happened to my world outliner? Okay. Camera controller. So let's check these. I'm interested in making sure that these pre-camera lists are correct. Visible pawn 2 and visible pawn 4, 3, 5, and 6. Interesting. What happened to where's 6? Yeah. So we got index 9, visible pawn 5, but I remember specifically setting that to 8. Nope, I was wrong. Oh, yes, no, I was right. See? This is how we check. This is how we really know. This one was originally 0. So visible pawn 4 should be on the, sorry. Visible pawn 4 should be on the, yes, that should be in our pre-camera list. Okay, so why is everything ending up one index higher than it's supposed to be for the custom ones? That's weird. Because we're supposed to be able to insert exactly where we want to. Blueprint runtime error. You already know, I hate these things. Then call function get item 3. Get item 3. It's trying to get array. Ask this to attempted to assign to none. Is this all the nuns? Hold on. No. Oh, I see. So those are all the blank cameras that, yeah, I can fix this pretty easily. Yeah, so it's just trying to set blank cameras with a camera ID, and that's not going to work. So this is where we get to make another function I'm actually excited about. This function. Check if valid pawn. So inputs, we're going to add invisible pawn, object reference. Then if I know how like little code this is, but like I just don't want to do it every time. So my outputs are going to be 2 execution graphs. And nope, exec. Integer 64, name string text. I feel like this was easier to find before. What have I done? Have I done something wrong? No, I don't think I have. There should be exec pins here. This is preposterous. Is something wrong with me? We'll do an event then. Oh, custom events can't return things. Yikes. Get out of here. Do I need to do a macro? So confusing. I guess I have to do a macro. Wow. I'm pretty sure I've done this with functions before. Inputs. Invisible pawn. Wait till we get to the end of this project. I think that's the other thing that's nice, is an invisible pawn isn't named camera something yet, like a bunch of other things are. So that's why I haven't changed it yet. Dang it. Keep hitting Control X and then accidentally hitting Control C instead of Control V, which does clear your clipboard. This needs an whoa. Okay, cool. Maybe I'm just rusty on my functions and macros. To be honest, that's one I have always struggled with. So we should be able to take this macro, pawn checker, and there will be many times where we have to do this. Oh, and I should make a throughput for the pawn as well. I should wire everything up. Yeah, that's not that cool. It's not that helpful. We are gonna have to do this one more time though, and I just didn't want to write the same code over. And it helps me to have gotten a little refreshed in the macros. Okay, so that should handle our error. Let's just stop it and see if we got a pop up. Nope, we're good. So yeah. All right. So we still have this problem with like the insert being wrong, right? So our pre-camera list ID N, that's still being inserted incorrectly. And I really want to know why. And I think some of them were doing okay, where others were not. So camera controller, this case situation, index 3, visible pawn 6. Let's look at it. It was 3. It was meant to be 3, and that was right on. So then invisible pawn 5 was meant to be 8, got pushed to 9. Visible pawn 3 was supposed to be 4, got pushed to 5. Yeah. 6 was supposed to be 3, got 3. 4 got 5. All right, so that's some interesting logic. Come back here, you camera controller. So maybe the timing's weird. What we could do is just artificially extend the length of the entire, if this would fix the problem, we could artificially extend the length of the entire array, and then we could just add stuff on afterwards, so that like if you want to have a number 8, like you wouldn't automatically have a 7. Like if you want to have 8 but you haven't set up 7 specifically, I hate that. That's going to be worse. That's definitely going to be worse. Pre-camera list ID N. Inserts. One of these got exactly what it wanted. 3. But then the next one, maybe I think because they should happen in order. So let's see if we can filter this array. Yeah. Filter array. That doesn't do what I thought it did at all. I want to be able to sort this. It's in utilities, I think. Find item, identical. I'm sighing a lot, but I'm actually having a really good time. Oh. Okay. This might be part of it. Let's, instead of getting the length, get the last index. This might help us significantly. If this solves our problem, cool, but I'm still maybe not satisfied. Yeah. Yes. That feels good. Yep, still incorrect. Visible pawn 5, 3 is correct, 4 is not correct. My guess is what's happening is that it's just like everything's pushing everything down, so we just need our N list to be in order. It's maybe not actually worth it after all, because my whole thing is that I want them all to be on the correct index of the array, so that we could just grab their, just grab them by their array really easily, and then we can also, swap through the array. But I'm probably over-engineering all my solutions right now. Man. So we are creating too many of these for sure. So what we need to do, utilities array, contains items, filter array, because what's happening is that the pawn number 6 is getting inserted late, which means that it's pushing down the other two because it's up first. Oh, maybe we should have just resized instead of adding a bunch of blanks. Yeah, that might have helped. Let's see if that. Let's just resize. And then we're just going to get the last index. Oh, no. Actually, no. We're going to get the length. Oh, no. No. I think we're going to go +1. Just a hunch. It does the same thing, you guys. It does the same thing. Oh well. And we still have the same problem, don't we? Yeah, we do. Yup. Yeah, we do. We have the same problem. So this insert, it's got to happen sequentially. Okay, I'm trying to think of a good way to sort an array. Oh. Well, why don't we, instead of using an array, let's make a, let's make a map. Yeah. Let's do this. And then let's just look up keys and the values. That's not what I'm looking for, really. What I'm really looking for is a way to be able to stack the array in order of its... Oh, well, why don't we just do the same thing with our pre-camera list n? Let's insert instead of adding everything into it, pre-camera list, and over here, let's just insert everything into it, kind of like we were doing before. Because then it'll be, we'll resize to, oh man. So we probably got it, yikes. I'm trying to think of what the order will be now. Because we can't insert past the size of the array. Okay, so we're just gonna make one more array. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make another array that's pre-camera list n. I'm gonna get rid of this map. I'm gonna get, oh man. All right, okay, I gotta think. I just need a way of like getting them all in order. Like I just need a way to get them all numericized. That's the, I don't think that's the right word. All right. I wish there wasn't only one way to filter an array. What's this? Oh, yeah. That might be what we wanted all along. Instead of doing all this weird junk. Set array element. Given an array and an index, assigns the item to that array element. Let's see what these do. Okay, so maybe we want to swap. I think we want to swap things. No, but even when we swap things, then we still have to have them be in order, because if one thing swaps with another thing, it swaps no. Because the insert pushes things down, but a swap wouldn't do that. All right, so let's try this then. Yes, let's give this a shot. We might not need to do anything else. Okay, so this is dumb, but I think we got to do an add first. I think the rest of this code holds up, but we got to do an add. Okay, cameras. All right, let's add all these boys. But then let's swap it afterwards. So we'll swap this. Oh, no, that wasn't the swap. It's probably the right way to go. Let's give it a go. Let's see what happens. That is correct. It is not perfect, but it's very good. It's a little obnoxious, but it's fine. The next thing we need to do is figure out how to like keep adding in new arrays, like, because if we have these blank ones in the middle and then we add something, we need to check to see if they're, if we can add more. We probably just need to like redo the entire array chain every single time. These are always harder than I expect somehow, but the good thing is they're at the right index. So, and then if we look down to see them, our intended array ended up being the right array. So this is the beginning of something cool. This is the very beginning of it. Oh man. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I think it all works. Just if we inserted another one, we just have to we'd need to call a reset on the whole array, and then we'd need to run the whole thing again. So that's fine. This is fine. All right. Is there anything else we could do right now? So that's the hard part, is getting this crazy contraption wired up. We're gonna have to do. Oh, this is the function. So let's grab all this stuff. Let's clean this up because we don't need that stuff anymore. I'm glad I found swap. That's new and that's cool. Swap is great. Yeah. Because, and it shouldn't be a problem ever because it's equivalent. Because of its equivalence with the there should just be nothing sitting, like all of those values should be unique. So there should be nothing squatting on them. So if it has to switch something out, it has to switch something out, and that's okay. I'd be interested to see a couple things though. What happens if we add more zeroed out ones? Do we get weird results? Does stuff get weirder? So 6 was the last one that I made. So everything 7 and beyond. Yeah, so 7, 8, 5 was custom. 9, 10, 11. I guess it is kind of random the way it adds them back in, but guess nothing to complain about. Yeah, nothing to complain about. Some stuff will get switched, but everything that wants a specific position should get its specific position. It might mean that certain things aren't as predictable in terms of what gets what, so you might have to spend more time figuring out what index you want specific cameras placed every time, I guess. This is cool. We should be able to reset our cameras too using the swap method. It's great. Yes. Yes. Don't need some of these, but not hurting anything. While I'm in this session, while I'm remembering it, I'm just going to leave this little reroute node here because this is a repeatable thing, and I think I want to, if I want to swap stuff in for a specific index, then maybe. It'd be nice to be able to just kind of bump things down the line, though, without bumping off everything that's important. This is making my head hurt, so let's do... Yeah, now that we finally got this monster made, let's switch our possession. So we're going to do two things. We're going to create current cam. This. Integer. And then, nope, it's a single. Yeah. And then what our integer will do is let us get and then boom. So whenever we want to switch cameras, we'll make like the space bar or something like that for now as a temporary. And I'm going to use comma, period to up and down the integer for current cam, and I do want this visible. And I should probably make this its own custom event. Yeah. So current cam plus. Dang it. These are also inverse of what I want. Cool. This is just a really simple counter. We're also going to do something while we're up here. See, I was talking about how stuff looks messy and I don't like it. Well, this looks way messy. No, I want a different one. Want max cam, max current cam. We'll go ahead and get last index actually. And actually we're going to do this last. It's still awful. I feel like I've written cruddier stuff before, so it's whatever. So I'm going to write another. You know what? I'm gonna write a function this time. I think I do want a function too, because I might access this later. I'm gonna name it counter ends. Counter caps. Input. I'm gonna put integer. Put another one. Max. And then I'll do a minimum too. You know what? If there's there's probably something that, yeah, there's probably, is there anything that, We're going to add another one called top to bottom. So default minimum would be 0. New parameter is, it's just going to be variable. And basically what we're going to do, just output a variable or an integer. So this thing is going to check to see if we are beyond our threshold here. So we're going to see if, oh yeah, first, and we're going to do it two ways, right? Branch. So top to bottom is on. We're going to do it one way. We're going to return either way. So if top to bottom is on, we're going to be swapping the number from the top of the range to the bottom. So if variable equals or greater than the max, if it's greater than the max, return to the minimum. Oh man, this is why we're going to hide this in a function. This is going to look so hairy and gross. Wait, can we make local variables? Yeah. Let's do that. I'm going to name it var. Just going to make a bunch of these first. Okay, well, there goes my naming scheme. This is going to get too crazy. Promote. We really might use this function all over the place. There might be other systems where we want to use this. So it's good that it's living here in our camera controller, but just something we can reference easily anywhere, because we're always going to have a camera controller. Okay, cool. Variable is greater than or equal to the maximum. It's going to pick A, which in this case is going to be our minimum. It's B, it's going to equal our variable. So the thing I can't figure out is how we'll do the same thing. Where does that sketch you out? It sketches me out. Okay, I think I just got to sign it. I think UE5 changed the way this works. Variable is less than the minimum. Then pick A, which is this case is going to be the maximum. But how do we decide between these two is the real question. Oh, yeah. What we'll do is we'll figure out variable so it's we'll do a nor. I think I might need a NAND. Yeah. Then we just return the variable. So the thing is, these both can't be true. But then we need one of them specifically. Or we could just break up a bunch of branches and just do it that way. Probably, you know what? I'm going to make my head hurt trying to find all the right Booleans. Yeah, we're just going to do more branches. I really wanted to be able to flex and just have just do it all with math, but that's gonna be obnoxious. Wait, what if we did an OR? See, now I'm thinking about it one more time. What does the XOR do again? Exclusive OR. I have to look it up again. All right, and then if not, then the way we'll do it over here. This is a lot simpler. I think we can just do minimum variable. Yeah. Cool. And then let's just see if the variable let's just see if it's in range. Aha, see? There's a note here the whole time. Yep. Nice. I'm just having fun right now. This is like, there's no wrong way to do this, I guess. Wait, no. Making my head hurt again. As always, making my head hurt. Actually, I think this will do it right here. So it'll take the maximum of the variable and the minimum. The variable should be more, and if that's true, it'll pass that on. But if it's less, then it'll take the minimum. And then if that value we passed on is less than the maximum, we'll take that. If it's not less than the maximum, then we'll take the maximum. Because if this is not more than the minimum, it's going to pass on the minimum. The minimum is by default less than the minimum of the maximum and the minimum, so boom. Could we have done that over here? I guess we had like a secondary concern of what value to switch to, where at this one we didn't really have that very much. All right. And you see that this just keeps getting more and more complicated. As we go on with the series, I'm going to be doing more because I'm making my, I'm legitimately making my tools. So this is this is a monster, but it's a good monster. It's my monster. It's gonna help me. So I'm gonna use these counter cap functions. So this is gonna go in here. Minimum is gonna be to 0 by default in this case, but then we're gonna do this. And then actually, this is what we're gonna do, because this will just return stuff for us. If you don't feel like opening the menu again, you can always just make that plus and minus, and then boom. Oops. Boom. Let's print this to see if it's working. Okay, interesting. So our top to bottom has one problem with it. Well, first off, let's look at this length of this integer. Or the length of the array, I should say. Okay, so we've got 11. That's cool. But we need to return to 11. If we max out the top here, it's setting us back to 0. So our top to bottom that's because if we're greater or equal to the maximum. I think that's what's wrong. This variable is greater than, yeah, that's when we want to, yeah, we don't want the greater than or equal to. Greater. Boom, boom. Oh, I guess we didn't use this, so we just copied it. Less. And let's see if that worked. Yes. Yes. Nice. So this will let us scroll through our cameras. And then this will let us actually really check through anything. I'm just gonna turn it off. We could set this one way too, so that it could bottom out, but it couldn't top out. All right, yeah, awesome, love it. Because I want to be able to change all this stuff without messing with it too much. That's my thing, is like mess with it one time, and then it's gonna be awesome forever. Click the wrong one. It's a great function. This is a great function. Turn those back on for now. So we're going to switch cameras. I'm going to just do it off the back of this. Then I'm going to, yeah. actually, and this is something I'll add a branch here later. So we'll switch, and then we will get the current cam. And we'll possess the target. So we did a lot of legwork in our big nasty spider, but then it gets a lot simpler down the line. All right. Ooh, boy. Oh, we are trapped. Our hitbox traps us. Let's make a change to the pawn. With this collision component, I'm gonna change what he can deal with. Let's just do no collision for now. But here we go. See, we just built a switcher. But what's cool about this switcher in particular, once we have things set up, we can go back to the ones before. So we just need to be able to control the camera component next, and then let me show you another thing that now will take us like no time at all to code. And then I gotta be done. Let's see here. You can also get a key here. Let's go any key. And then I think we're gonna we want to convert this. Key display name. Integer. Well, no, we'll get a string. Then we'll get wait. There's probably a better way to do this. Oh gosh. Oh man. Let's just do a little print string first. And yeah, I know this is bad. Oh yeah, so this is everything. This is printing everything and making it all 0. But we are getting number keys. So I've written this code before, I just don't remember it offhand. But there is a way to be sure that we're pressing a number key. Key, subtract key? No. Oh man. Yeah. So it's kind of a problem, but let's just say if greater than 0.
This is lazy, but yeah. I'll find a way. I'll find the proper way eventually. So what we need to do is we need to switch cameras. And then we need to build some functions into this. Man, I keep saying this will be simple, and then I keep adding more stuff to it. Current cam. And then that's a Boolean, actually. This maybe was unnecessary. This is, yeah, maybe very unnecessary. Because I could have just written code to set the current cam. Default value is yes, use current cam. Yeah, I'm gonna just counter cap. And 64. Yeah, I don't even, yeah. Oops. Didn't even need that. Then this will be cool because this will just let us. We'll see. This is mostly usability stuff. That's what's funny about it. And then cameras. Yeah, I could do either here. It's kind of stupid, actually. All right. Now, oh, that any key maybe messed me up. But I have all of these now. I cannot move, but I have them. Let's get rid of that crappy. Let's get rid of that crappy code. But I think that's pretty cool. I've done this before. You just got to have a way of qualifying to make sure it's really a number, and then it doesn't become a problem. But yeah, I'm liking this slow moving camera thing. Yeah. Sweet. And then switch to another. Switch to another. So cool. And then we can move all of them, and then there's like a built-in memory. And eventually what I'll do is I'll set custom controls per camera. We might have one we decide we want it to whip around a lot more. Maybe we'll just have like a master control on, just to like in general, to like control all these guys. But yeah, once we start doing stuff with like focus, it's going to be so cool. All right, I am sincerely dehydrated. My throat hurts. That was a good session.